Let's talk about this alleged child prostitution ring in Nebraska in America in the 1980s. Now there is so much layers to this case, so much. I just recently got the book about it known as the Franklin Cover Up. Please go get your copy. Use critical thinking, connect the dots because this one is a lot. Now, according to the lawyer that worked on the case, John DeCamp, every victim, witness who stepped forward in any way has either been killed, put in jail, terrified, or discredited. All of that over allegations. If it's just pure allegations, why is people losing their lives? Why is people being put in jail? Now, let us pick up this article because I noticed even on the internet, there is not a lot going on when it comes on to this alleged prostitution ring in Nebraska. There is not a lot. We have an article here from the Daily Mail, date the 22nd of July, 2022, right? I was just going to go into this article briefly and maybe sometime later I go into the book because we need more than one video for this one. Back in the 1980s, several alleged victims claimed that a man named Lawrence King ran an underground club in Omaha, Nebraska, through which he, along with well-known, listen to this, well-known politicians, businessmen, and media moguls are said to have forced children as young as 8 years old to have sex with them. Now it's starting to make sense why victims that step forward are either being killed, put in jail, or discredited when it comes down to this alleged prostitution, child prostitution ring. Let's get into some more. In 1990, a Nebraska County grand jury concluded that the claims were a hoax, and a federal grand jury later agreed that the allegations had no base. However, in 1993, a film crew flew to Omaha to shed further light on the shocking accusation, interviewing the alleged victims and others who were said to be involved as part of a documentary. The alleged victims told documentary makers that the government forced them into silence by threatening those who spoke out, using scare tactics and even murder, with one of them even alleging that they killed his brother in an attempt to get him to stay quiet about the accusation. Wow. This alleged prostitution ring seems to go to the very top. It goes to the very top. The documentary called Conspiracy of Silence saw some of the supposed victims speak out about the alleged offenses perpetrated by King and his rich circle of powerful men, as well as the lengths federal investigators reportedly took to make sure the scandal was never made public. Wow. Described as a story about evil in the art of America involving a cover up at the highest level, the documentary explained how a film crew uncovered the vast operation which provide children to the wealthy for molestation, drug trafficking, and blackmail. The base for King's alleged network was a small people's bank in Omaha, Nebraska, known as the Franklin Federal Credit Union, where he worked as a general manager. Through the bank, King allegedly courted the leaders of Omaha's wealthy business district, the documentary stated, adding, banks, industries, and charities placed millions of dollars in his hands. He also grew close to the leaders of a nearby home for orphan kids called Boys Town, which would reportedly send some of its children to work for him. My God. According to documents, King would get close to the kids after they came and worked for him at the bank. However, he would then reportedly prostitute them out to his wealthy friends, force them to have sex with himself and others, and provide them with drugs. This is a lot. Now I know why it is such a cover up. He was also one of the most evil individual in this country, lawyer John DeCamp, who was working on the case at the time, said in the documentary he was a dealer of children and a thief. He would use compromise and corrupt politicians one after another. Jesus. Wow. One boy named Paul Bonanzi claimed that he became a victim of King abuse at the age of 8. He said King would use him to lure more boys into the program and would force him to become friends with them and invite them to his parties. He said King used drugs to rope more children in. They would do the sexual acts and be provided with the white lady, that powder there, or whatever type of drug they wanted, he explained. Washington lobbyist Craig Spence, department store billionaire Alan Baer, and celebrity columnist and World Herald newspaper Peter Citron were some of the men who were later named by victims as allegedly being involved. It's a web of intrigue that starts in Nebraska and spread out like a spider's web to Washington, D.C., right up to the steps of the nation capital, right up to the step of the White House. The camp reveal it involves some of the most respected and powerful and richest businessmen in the United States of America. Bonanzi claims that Citron often forced him, as well as other victims, to have. We're going to cut it right there. This story about this alleged prostitution ring in the 1980s in Nebraska, this one got layers. And we've got to piece this together and put it back bit by bit. This is a lot. This is a lot. With the allegation stating it leads up to the nation's capital, in Washington. It's just too much. Imagine. No wonder victims are silenced or killed or put in jail. Right? We need to visit this case some more, and I really need to read my book because there's not a lot on the internet regarding this case. So, of course, they're trying to silence this case. They don't really want people talking about this one, what happened in Nebraska, and this is mighty interesting. I would also want to know what happened to the lawyer John DeCamp. Right? So we need to revisit this one. So please go look up the book, The Franklin Cover Up. Go check for whatever article you can find on the internet about this one. I most definitely will be visiting this. It is too much. Understand that if you want wealth, power, and position, you've got to provide the devil, Satan, Gadriel, whatever name the pervert goes by. You've got to provide him with some worthy offering. And one of the best offering is children in any shape or form. And we're just going to leave it right there. We're going to use wisdom. So we need to pray and say, Glory be to the Most High.